A boy is riding south, away from the only country he has ever ruled. Behind him, a city already lost. Ahead, the coast, a ship, and a road that runs all the way to India, a life where no one would ever guess whose son he was. Then, a rider reaches him. "Turn back," the message says. "The danger has passed. The throne is yours." And the boy turns his horse around. Why does he believe it? The man who had sent that message had been trusted to keep the boy alive. What he had actually agreed to do is the reason this story is still told. His name was Ptolemy Caesar. In Alexandria, they called him something smaller and fonder, Caesarion, Little Caesar. He was born around the year 47 before Christ, and from the time he could be shown to a crowd, his mother made one claim about him, again and again. This was the son of Julius Caesar. His mother was Cleopatra, and whether she was telling the truth is something the ancient world never settled. She said Caesar was the father. Mark Antony, years later, swore the same in public. But Caesar's own people were not so sure. One of his closest agents, a man named Oppius, wrote a whole pamphlet arguing the boy was not Caesar's at all. And Caesar himself never formally claimed the child. When he died, his will named a different heir, not this boy. A grandnephew back in Rome, adopted on paper, Octavian. So there were two sons of Caesar now, one by blood if the blood was real, one by law and nothing else. For a while, it did not seem to matter. A child king was normal in Egypt. A child who was also the living blood of Caesar was something no one in Rome had a word for yet. Cleopatra made the boy her co-ruler, Ptolemy XV, and had him carved into the temple wall at Dendera, standing beside her, making offerings as a pharaoh should. And in the year 34 before Christ, Antony went further. In front of the whole city, he named the boy King of Kings and the true son of Caesar. It was a beautiful thing to give a child. It was also, though nobody said it yet, a death sentence. To see why a title could kill a boy, you have to look at the man who had been left with nothing but a name. Octavian was not a soldier the way Caesar had been. He was not loved the way Caesar had been. Everything he held, every soldier who followed him, every senator who feared him, came from one fact and one fact only. He was the son of Julius Caesar, adopted, but the heir. The name was the entire inheritance. Now think about what it meant that another boy was alive, far away in Egypt, who could say the same thing, and say it with blood instead of ink. This is the turn the whole story rests on. Octavian's power was a claim, and a claim can only belong to one person. As long as Caesarion breathed, there was a second answer to the question every Roman was quietly asking: who is the real heir of Caesar? Two boys could not both be the only son. One of them was a problem that a name had already solved. The other would have to be solved some other way, not with an argument, not with a will. There was only one way to end a rival claim of blood, and everyone marching south with Octavian already knew what it was. The war settled the rest. Antony and Cleopatra had staked everything on it, and everything was gone. Octavian was marching toward Alexandria now, unhurried because there was nowhere left for them to run. Cleopatra understood what was coming for her. What is said less often is that she understood what was coming for her son, and so before the end, she tried to put him beyond their reach. She sent the boys south, toward the coast, with the men she trusted and enough treasure to vanish. The plan was India. A ship, a long sea, a new name at the far end of it. Then, Alexandria fell. Cleopatra did not live to see what came next. She died by her own hand inside the city, rather than be led through Rome in chains. The rule of her family ended in that room. Almost. Because the boy was still on the road, still riding, still, as far as he knew, a king with a kingdom waiting for him. And this is where the sources stop agreeing. Some of them say he was simply caught, but the fuller account, the one written closest to the event, says something worse. It says he was never captured at all. It says he was called back. The man who called him back was named Rhodon. He was the boy's own tutor, the very man Cleopatra had chosen to carry her son to safety. And according to Plutarch, writing more than 100 years later, Rhodon turned the boy around with a promise. Octavian would let him keep Egypt. All he had to do was come home. He came home. We do not know if Rhodon believed the promise or knew exactly what he was leading the boy toward. The sources do not tell us. Either way, the result was the same. What they tell us is what was waiting at the end of that road. Octavian had already decided, and a line was going around his camp from one of his Greek advisors, a man named Arius. A grim little joke cut from a line of Homer. Too many Caesars is not a good thing. The boy was killed. He was perhaps 17 years old. It is easy to file this as one more death in a war that made thousands. But look at what actually ended on that road. This was the last of the pharaohs, the final heir of a line that had ruled Egypt since the generals of Alexander tore his empire apart. After this boy, there was no Egypt as its own kingdom. It became a province, a possession, a field that fed Rome. And none of it happened because he had done something. He had led no army, he had betrayed no one. He died for a single reason. He had the wrong father, or the right one. The name his mother gave him to make him a king was the same name that made him impossible to leave alive. We tend to remember the men who win these stories. Octavian became Augustus, the first of Rome's emperors, and the world made room for him for centuries. Almost no one remembers the boy he had to erase to stand there. So here's what I want to know from you. If Caesarion really was Caesar's son, the last one, does he deserve a place in the story that history never gave him? Tell me below.